I was raised to believe in an omnipotent and eternal creator who knows our hearts. If you were spying on me, you might not have thought that, but you lack context. In fact, if you're spying on people on behalf of God, the opportunity will always be there to disinform you, to deliberately misguide you. When I was 35, I was condemned for things that happened when I was 3, when I was 12. I was accused of leaking classified information, music, old movies, books about religion, and especially headlines. September 11th, we were accused of an inside job, and it spread from there. I said the Nazis had been planning this for 80 years, and the guys pretending to negotiate behind our backs while they raped 84,000 Boy Scouts acted like I was in on it. You're trying to bamboozle people with the sophisticated whore of Babylon. Maybe it'd work better if we didn't have the third world interjecting their agenda. Everybody was in on it except for the United Nations. After I got nerve gassed, I didn't know I'd been nerve gassed. They misdiagnosed me, told me it was mono, the kissing disease. After my first date with my first love, for cheating on the guy that raped me in surgery when I was 6 years old. I was very ill for a very long time. There were unique and lasting symptoms, and that's how I eventually found out through the magic of the internet. I just looked up all the symptoms, but it's not mono, what was it? And it was a good time for it because a Japanese subway got gassed with the same stuff the next year. Obviously, had I known I'd been attacked, I could have tried to get help. I presume if Washington knew about it. I mean, had they faithful context, I don't know. Who's that gay kid? I'm not gay. Never been gay. You being confused about that is a dead giveaway. Just thinking you were going to get away with zapping somebody with purloined public resources, not exactly a religion. So, coming up with all these excuses for why you thought, is another dead giveaway. The devil doesn't lie to God. In the book of Job, God asks him where he's been, and he says, to and fro upon the land. He doesn't lie. He doesn't run away. The Middle East had been persecuted mercilessly for a long time, by the time the Quran was written. But one has to wonder if these are the same heresies they were being persecuted for. It is the year of our Lord 2024, because only one man has ever been born perfect. The Jews disagree, but they're the ones who told us about it. They're still waiting for the same thing. Islam, they say it's the same God, but if the earth is flat, it's not technically a religion, whether there's a God or not. Socrates was accused of impiety, blasphemy, false teachings, but more importantly, heresy for turning against his own order of sovereignty. Had he not sworn an oath to this fraternity, it would have been none of their business. It wouldn't make a difference. Well, he proved that the earth was not flat, and didn't the ancient Greek Senate have egg on their faces? All through the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. So you're really banking heavily on me being like an atheist or something, huh? I guess being nerve gassed and lied to doctors who were planning on killing me anyway my whole life. After that, I had a different attitude. That girl was my first love. It just came to me. I wasn't looking for it. I didn't expect it. We met, we exchanged information, and we spoke on the phone and wrote letters. All this build-up until finally, but try as we might, we failed to consummate. Used a condom, which is a sin, but I was technically still a virgin. Try as we might. And then I got nerve gassed, and the doctor lied, said it was mono, and how am I supposed to know? Gave me Prozac. Not for any benefit of mine, just to mark the occasion. I got this under control. Don't worry about this guy. Things got a little crazy after that. I stopped taking it after I got arrested for trying to save some hobo with a gun. He said he's gonna kill himself. Oh no, Alan! If I was there, I remember. Now, about this thing with the dog, I guess it works better when there's just no way the victim is gonna guess what you're talking about. It works better if it's wrong. You had to be really carried away, fully committed to the idea I was into dogs. 2014, a doctor ripped off the hospital, the insurance company. He asked me a question, which the whole staff had already grilled me about, and I had lied to every single one of them, because you don't need that information to treat me. You're up to no good. But I didn't have my phone on me. I didn't know he was ripping off the insurance company until collections tried to kill me in 2015. They said your protection ran out. My protection? The Army was the high point of my working life. And then I was a doorman, various security, labor, etc. I couldn't find a security job when I got here, but I was laboring pretty good. Imagine my surprise. Somebody thought my protection ran out. Well, this is pretty high tech, some kind of psyop. Figure, hopefully it's the CIA, it's just a misunderstanding, and if it's not, whenever I do catch up with the CIA, whoever it is going to be up to their eyeballs and boiling shit, my friend. Boiling fucking shit. I took everything I had of value and everything I could borrow in case it was a different kind of misunderstanding and I needed to parlay. I was ready to give it all up. No, you're not gonna do this to my people by virtue of association with something that never happened. You're banking on some next level retard shit. How bad does it have to be when you need someone to act like that to justify the way you behave? And why point the finger at all if it's legal to begin with? So my protection ran out, and that blonde girl, all I had to go on. Not this blonde girl, the one won't leave me alone. To be a different blonde girl, some kind of misunderstanding. Where's the last place I had a misunderstanding? So I went to the guy that was supposed to represent the Maori girl they crippled after I joined the army. I think somebody was trying to kill me. Ha ha ha! Where would you get that idea? I called my buddy. Hey, your stupid friends over here talking about someone trying to kill him. So that happened. We remember that. I went all the way. Oh yeah, and I stopped by. People knew that I was going to handle something. Not like I just ran away trying to hire a lawyer. They're like, lawyering up. That friend he was talking to is the one that the sheriff said was accused of raping a dude. I was in preschool. It was supposed to, I don't know, register with me. I was making fun of him, like that's supposed to click. I had never thought twice about it. I'm Irish and Cherokee, and I never sold cocaine. It's gonna be my resume headline from now on. Not once in my whole life have I ever sold cocaine in any form. And that's how they laced up that Maori girl, that blonde girl. So I went all the way to California. I blew through like $10,000. Not all at once. I wasn't partying. I was checking out the places that you pay to get into, throwing a little money around, just on dumb shit for attention. This will all be in my book. Suffice to say, it was not the CIA, and it wasn't a cartel either. Not a good one. They just raped some poor thing after she sat next to me on the bus. When I got back, not right away, but I did end up getting my skull fractured. I didn't say I didn't like it. I drove myself to the hospital. Deputies were there. They had questions. What are you asking me for? You're just here to ask me questions? So I lied to them, and here's why. I said I was going to let the church handle it. I didn't say which church. Owe me a favor I can use. No, it was great. That was the first time since I finally kicked that I was actually tempted to take something for the pain, lay there and listen to my eye socket click whenever I blinked my eye. I don't know, a few weeks maybe. Long story short, the insurance company was trying to get me killed by people who are ostensibly, they are justified, just not against me, because they've been following me around since I was like 5, snitching and raping people. Somebody lost a bet. I got raped in surgery when I was 6 years old. So either whoever it is can't be trusted to protect a 6-year-old, or probably need to die anyway. Now the Pope got shot 5 years before this, right along with Reagan. Remember that? Reagan, Pope. I was 1 year old, so I didn't remember that. I had to look it up. Somebody was gambling on the preschool Olympics. Does Trump not know? They brought his 8-year-old nephew to my preschool. How can you not know about this? Who are you blaming for all those bankruptcies? I guess I raped 007 shortly after that. But we were both 3. Jeff was 8. So Jeff Trump gets his face stomped on by an Irish Cherokee 3-year-old who then just happens to rape 007. And when I was 5 years old, I got caught trying to dose an abusive cokehead with my own special brew. And I guess after we left, They went and made something of it. I didn't know they raped that girl after she sat next to me on the bus. I had to recognize her picture years later. The next day, I saw the picture of the Mexican dressed like me. It was a sketch in the local rag, and I just thought it was a sick joke. I didn't think about it at all. It never occurred to me as such evil here. But I guess what they do in some places is if a prostitute gets arrested, she can't charge the officer with rape if she's already arrested. It's a holdover from the gold rush back when, we work out a little probation of our own. So then all you gotta do is force them into prostitution. So you can be like, see? And if the police weren't involved, how did a sketch get in the paper? And there was a sketch in the paper, so why wouldn't the police be involved? It took another separate trip. I went back to my old duty station and tried to turn myself in and cop to a gag order. Like I must have been talking about something I wasn't supposed to. Bullshit about a leak. New commander says to me, don't talk about it. That's my only clue. And then they said something to me, rang a bell, so I was on my way back to Colorado. I was like, I'm not going all the way to Colorado again. They're just trying to run me through my own tracks where they already went and did a bunch of dirt. People might recognize me. So I turned around, I hooked up with this old Air Force vet and just regurgitated everything I knew so far. So he heard me out, and then when I left, a sign from the angels, come find out, in 2007, Robert Davies was framed for the murder of Laverne Rich. It was an international incident. He was blatantly, obviously framed because he had a prior for child crimes from the first time they framed him to cover up raping me in surgery. I know exactly who my attacker was. I met him shortly before this incident for the first and only time. Now, there's going to be an argument somewhere in the Devil's Playground that this is a religion. He showed himself to me when I was on my way to work. So he presented himself in person and told me a little about his religion, gave me his name, told me he carries a sword at all times. He didn't mention that he had raped me. I don't know if I would have believed him, but in order for this religion to work, I would have had to kill the first goddamn diaperhead I ever laid eyes on in person for nothing. But then I didn't. So then after that, it would have been argued that I forgave it. It was the first time, the last time we ever met. You know, the Irish invented whiskey. The Iron Age is named for us. You need whiskey to make gasoline. It's science. Ask a scientist. You know so goddamn much. If the Irish had not invented whiskey, you would not have topical sterilization for surgery. For an anesthesia, I mean, it's better than nothing, but not as good as poppy, right? But as far as gasoline, why should we have to trade our firstborn to keep gas prices down? When for us, that oil's still still be in the ground. Still be using it to fling balls of flaming mud at each other in wooden boats. Act like the Irish are behind on their payments. How is this even an option? Where in global high finance do you buy a helicopter with a little Irish boy? It's my sworn enemy. I have to, oh, he's a cute little fella, isn't he? They like our soft skin, our pretty hair, our meat. So Wall Street, Downing Street have been going about all this all wrong for a long time. If there's a lick of religion about you, you'd know that a 12-year-old Scottish boy raping the hounds means werewolves. I have never raped any four-legged beast that did not go on to become the mother of all Scotsmen. Every single one of you. Did it happen? Maybe it had to happen. Maybe they need it to have happened so they don't have to go back and change everything. But werewolves, I'm gonna need at least about 20,000 fucking werewolves. I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the medals. Should be lucrative. I am an anti-disestablishmentarian, anti-fascist, anti-communist. I was also a bit of a non-conformist, but if you can hear the rest of that and still think non-conformist means anarchist, there was an agenda. I have trouble believing anyone in Congress or Parliament evil enough to think this up would also be dumb enough to think they'd get away with it. Why all the danger to, like, expensive people? Maybe it was that guy. last king of Scotland. Now do you believe me when I say I'm a practical comparative theologist? I didn't have any inside information. I wasn't in on it, like where I'd be looking for. I wasn't on the street for you know who. I was a doorman. It's not like I would have been that hard to find. I was just like, what is these people's problem? Somebody just milking their budget. I didn't have a reason to look into it until I knew for a fact, beyond a shadow of a doubt, they were trying to kill me in particular. Nothing personal. I just wish somebody had the huevos to say it to my face 20, 30 years ago. But I mean, they didn't know either. It's not until you leave town. When you leave town, they do a bunch of dirt, point the finger, go around, and then I guess the ostensible argument is that they saw me do it, so that they thought it was okay, or like they had to compete with me because I'm their enemy, or they're with me, so they had to do it for me. But I never sold cocaine, not once in my whole life. So somebody crippled a little Maori girl. I mean, not a little girl, but a 23-year-old tried to join the skinheads to get me jumped. And when they asked him why, I guess it came out that he was giving cocaine to a 15-year-old he was banging. So he got his head stomped into a cactus until he shit his pants and went cross-eyed. I don't mess with those guys. Like, we're not affiliated. I'll testify he had it coming. Not like I need them to go, protection. She could have just said, I mean, that's how all this started. I need you to do me a favor. All right. But the next time she wanted a favor, it was like, I have to sell cocaine. And I'm like, good luck with that. I've never done it. So there's no reason I would have been like, oh, well, talk to this guy. I don't owe money for it. Nobody out there is under the impression they learned it from me, or they did it for me, or they had to do it against me. None of that exists. So you're getting ripped off and acting like we're obligated, assholes going around trying to make it look good enough. The damage to my community, all because somebody lost a bet. Now, if you don't want it to go on record, I'm not big on blackmail and all that stuff, but figure I'm going to tell the CIA everything I know. They may or may not have questions for me at this time. I'm going to do my best to cooperate in every way because I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it for the medals. This is just, my personal, confusion. I know about other stuff. And then you probably work it out with them. I mean, survived this long, right? I wrote tax code guidelines to audit exploitative religious practices. That way, it doesn't matter. Where's your owner? Who's your daddy? What's in your wallet? Now we know who it belongs to, whatever. So now they know ostensibly what's being done in their name. They can look into it or not. Not just going to be, maybe it was that guy for decades. Maybe it was that guy. My name is Noel D. Smith. Single, straight, no kids, never married. No abortions, no abominations, no divorces, no bankruptcies. Formerly decorated so-and-so with the yada yada. Perhaps you've heard of us. Airframe triage theologies. Never forged ink on paper. Never perjured myself under oath. I've never sold cocaine. And I've never learned how to run a server, much less hack one. We can talk about all those things and more, if that's allowed. Because what we got now is people going around and threatening people, signing them up for some bullshit, and then acting like they have to answer for it. After I leave town, where I can't just go up to them and be like, hey, I talk to them on the phone. Facebook, the gay revolution. Figure it's going to be a lot bigger than whatever you bargained for. There's going to be at least 20,000 fucking werewolves involved. So it might behoove you, or, anybody in your general direction. We will litigate in furtherance of the democracy. Like, we're supposed to have all these problems with China and Russia, and we're going to threaten London and Rome. We're going to arrest Jerusalem. People are idiots.